In the mid-90s, with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers at the height of its popularity, the series had unexpectedly took a bold new turn that will introduce fans to a team they never seen before, the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. Now for a short and forgettable, whatever you want to call it, an arc, a season, a storyline, the Power Rangers that we've known for 3 seasons have turned into kids, and no, they can't become Power Rangers, even though Justin did that a few years later, whatever.
Guys, I'm the new Blue Ranger. Isn't that cool or what?
And since we have kids with no powers, an alien team from the planet Aquitar would come down to Earth and become its temporary warriors. And as simple as this concept sounds, it wasn't really the best. Then again, this was 30 years ago, right? I don't think people are talking about the Alien Rangers right now. It's not like they're an important part of Power Rangers history. If anything, they're minor. So in this video, we talk about the origin, the story, and what makes Alien Rangers such a weird season in the span of the 30 years of Power Rangers history. Now, my big question coming into this and watching Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers was the first time is that, why did this season need to exist anyways? I mean, you can technically have gone from Mighty Morphin to Power Rangers Zeo the next season with no problem. And yes, still technically Alien Rangers is Mighty Morphin Season 3, referred to as Season 3A. But you know, new team, you get to sell new figures, new Zords, and you know, have the season with its own DVD release. So ultimately, thinking about it now, money. Money is the answer of why this season was made, isn't money the answer to everything? Filming Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was getting expensive, and by its 3rd season, it definitely was becoming a mess. They had the core team from the 1 Sentai series, Jew Ranger, a 6 Ranger from another series, Die Ranger, and after 2 seasons of burning both of those Super Sentai footage, especially with their Megazords, the 3rd season featured footage from another series, that being Kaku Ranger, and that had new Ninja Zords, Shogun Zords, and a new mentor-like powerful figure that would give him these powers called Ninjord. But here's the thing, and the funny part, they were using the Kaku Ranger footage, but only for the Zords, not for, you know, the main fights when the Rangers are in suit. That would have to be original footage every single episode, which drove up the cost quite quickly. There's also a bunch of random stuff, like they had the Ninja Ranger power, the Ninjetti modes, the Ninja Ranger modes, whatever you want to call them, and you know, metallic armor for a stupid reason. And the reason why they didn't use this team footage is pretty simple. Kaku Ranger didn't really have a 6th Ranger, the White Ranger was a leader, and was a girl, which meant during Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they had to do a restructuring to how the Zords would come about, as they would have to introduce the Kaku Ranger's additional Zord, Subasumaru, like pretty early, like immediately when the Rangers would get their ninja powers. And since there's only 15 episodes worth of footage where 6 Zords appear, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers would have to do a lot of multi-part episodes and just stretch them stories, baby, to use all the Zord footage you can, just very slowly. And Season 3 was ultimately the shortest season, having 33 episodes, while Seasons 1 and 2 had about 60. This led to the creation of the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, an excuse to make a mini-series that uses mostly Kaku Ranger footage, saving costs for multiple episodes, as well as saving costs for using the main cast, I guess also giving them a well-deserved vacation, except David Yost. He had like a 1-2 episode break. The actors hadn't gotten a break in months, especially after filming that Power Rangers movie a few months earlier. So the idea of using the Japanese Kaku Ranger footage with different Ranger actors, a new team, having these Alien Rangers being a way to transition out of Mighty Morphin into Zeo, it seemed like a good idea. The season was already teasing Zeo since the beginning of Season 3 of MMPR, with short clips called Zeo Serials that would air at the end of the episodes, teasing the Machine Empire, as well as introducing the Zeo Crystal, which had its own mini arc at the end of Season 3. But Alien Rangers was a big step forward, and they still had more toys than Cosmic Fury though. Can you believe that? Wah, wah. It's a good move, but necessarily not the best in execution, with its first mistake being on how it ended Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, with the Power Rangers essentially losing to the villains they've been fighting this whole time. The Earth's rotation had been reversed. The Power Rangers are kids now, and they're powerless against, you know, Lord Zed, Rita Repulsa, Master Vile, Goldar, Rito, the whole bunch of them. And you know what? It was 3 months until Power Ranger fans in the 90s found out what happened next. So imagine, you know, seeing your Power Rangers lose and be like, oh, I gotta wait 3 months now. I guess that's not as bad as having a hiatus in the 2020s. So when Alien Rangers started airing in February of 96, it aired in a 2-week period and brought hype back to the series and the upcoming Zeo show, as it gave a good chance to do some world building, as it was the first team of Rangers that we saw besides the team that we have been following for so long. And since they were Rangers from another planet, said to have their powers for at least a millennium, as well as a connection with Ninjor, it definitely grew the Power Rangers universe. But will it pay off? Well, it's time for the recap of Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, and the first thing I'll tell you is the theme song. Go Go Alien Rangers. That's all they did. That's all they changed. Coming in episode 1, we see that we have switched our teenagers with attitude with kids with attitude. Now, I'm not really a fan of child actors in general by how iffy the acting can get, and if the teenagers are already corny as is, so I guess you can imagine how the kids are. Now, the Rangers can't contact Zordon and Alpha. It says that their power coins are linked to their human bodies or whatever. But that also being why they remember the past and not anybody else. But then we see the evil space aliens that, we've been trying to fight against the whole time. They're big now, they're huge, size of the buildings, and they're doing comedic banter. I guess while the whole world is listening in on what jokes they're doing. Just start crushing stuff. They do get small immediately though. Master Vile was like, like, bro, come on. The Kid Rangers encounter Bulk and Skull and get chased by Rito and some Tengas. And since there's no Power Rangers here, they defeat them very Tom and Jerry style, Looney Tunes style of comedy fighting. Actually, this is more like Home Alone if you think about it.
Time to take out the trash.
Tommy's kid acts like him in a cool way. Adam, I feel like, is closest to the actual, teenage Adam. And Rocky, Kid Rocky, like, what is up with that haircut? That's crazy. Also, Billy just casually reveals himself as the Power Rangers to the cops. Obviously, they're not going to believe it, so I don't know why bro did that. So many weird things happen in this season. Rito patting Zed's head. I have that written down on my notes. Well, what's that bromance we got over here? The Rangers would get taken in by the police because, they say, monsters are real. But the police was like, oh, we don't believe you, even though there were 4 monsters in the sky a while ago. We forgot about that. And Tom and Kat would come with the obvious 2-man as an adult. But the Rangers would get out of, police prison or whatever by the classic 2 kids staging to look like an adult. Because of course that would work on the Angel Grove Police Department. What are they doing when the Power Rangers are doing their thing? They're just chilling. Goldar and Rito follow the kids into the command center and set up a bomb. Meanwhile, Zordon and Alpha, they were trying to contact the Rangers, but there was a power outage in the command center. So they were trying to remember, what we were doing back then. They were spring cleaning. The power outage was due to a vacuum.
Now I remember. We were spring cleaning, and we had to unplug the control panel to vacuum.
I don't know why people say Zordon and it'd be legendary like that. The bro's acting like Gosei right now. Anyways, once they get the power back, distress call to Aquitar. In part 2, the Aquitians answer the call and we see Aquitar, a cool blue planet, I guess, as we meet Delphine, the leader of the team, and the first female leader in the team too, and also the person we probably focused the most about this season. The aliens were initially worried because in Aquitar, it is a water planet. It's kind of their oxygen and they needed to survive. Could Earth's water be that good? I do not want to see the Alien Rangers in New York City, man. They're gonna die in that water. The Hudson River? But the Alien Rangers ultimately take this risk, as we meet Sestra, the tech expert of the team, similar to Billy in a way, and mentions how they will get to use their own Zords, the Battleborgs, to fight, said to be presented to them a millennia ago by Ninjor, which at this point Earth will be back at the temple locked away, not able to help. I guess there's not enough time to do a four-part ninja quest again, no? No, we gotta move on? Okay. Zordon and Alpha notice the bomb outside, and Zordon declines the Rangers doing any help, as they are kids, and sends Alpha instead. Because teenage soldiers, that's fine. Kid soldiers, that's where we draw the line. The imaginary Power Rangers line. Also, I love the line by Aisha. Be careful, we love you. I'm about to start crying. So Alpha was outside trying to stop this bomb. Bro was sweating. How does Alpha sweat? Well, hold on, sweat. It pick up with the beat of my chest. It got me wet. Check out my new song, Sweat by Five Loco right now. Link in the description because Alpha sweats. You could sweat too to the music. Not sponsored, sponsored by me. After Alpha saves the day, the Alien Rangers flee their planet with their teleportation, looking super cool, by the way. It also gives us some awesome looks at the planet, looking like a little aquarium with weird shapes around. Very alien. But sadly, most of their communication from the planet comes from this liminal space. A room. Wow. It looks like an office. I do feel the aura from there, though. Now, Rito and Goldar would eventually meet the Rangers at the beach, but, you know, the kids would chase them around in circles and throw balls at them. You know, Rito and Goldar got swords, right? They can just slash them, right? There's a kid shot. My bad. The Alien Rangers arrive, though, and quickly get freaky with their little wings and uses water powers to push them away. And after that, the aliens and the kid humans see their differences and similarities. Back at the base, the Alien Ranger would download into their minds the Ranger Shogun Zord system and how to use it. As we see the Rangers morph up in a quick alien fashion. I can't keep saying alien as an adjective. It just doesn't work like that. It was a very simple morph. So simple, it does great in team shots. We finally get to look at our Alien Ranger team. The suits are fine. You know, they're pretty simple. Cocker Ranger was very simple. I bought the Lightning collection of the Alien Rangers, not even because of the Alien Ranger, because Cocker Ranger. I just love it. It was so simple, so neat. It's okay. Fine suit. They got the ninja look, though. They never explain in the show why they look like ninjas, but you know, Ninja is connected. The Battle Boys look like the Shogun Zords. You can see the Battle Borgs fight a monster group and get beat pretty quickly. Wow, that's our new team of Rangers, guys. The monster would grow big, though, and we would see the Battle Borgs. And how they say the Battle Borgs work is that they control them with their mind. So what follows as the Zord footage plays is them on the ground, just basically trying to recreate the Japanese footage in their own little cheesy American way. It's funny. It's cute. It's camp. I love Power Rangers. Like I said, the Battle Borgs are quite similar to the Shogun Zords. They are more humanoid, though, in look, and they'll combine to form a Megazord. They are summoned by their alien power coins and are controlled telepathically on the ground. Their finisher is even funnier, by the way, just having a Borg team throw themselves, the red ones specifically, towards the enemy as a fireball attack. Now, if you're curious why the Battle Borgs didn't appear in Mighty Morphin Season 3, is because these Zords appeared in earlier episodes of Cocker Ranger, alongside what we call the Shogun Megazord. As the Ninja Megazord originally in Cocker Ranger, it was introduced in the second half of the series. You get what I'm saying? Which is also why the Alien Rangers never summoned the Ninja Megazord, just the Shogun Zords, because that's what existed in the Japanese footage. Speaking of Shogun Zords and the Shogun Megazord, it does show up in this Megazord fight, only to do the finisher. That's all it does. And then with Master Fa facing defeat, they quickly go back to their galaxy, where we don't see him anymore this season. W villain. And now with two Ranger teams, the group is feeling more united than ever, vowing to find a way to push forward time and to help the Alien Rangers survive Earth. And they would do one big Power Rangers! Now, after episode 2, the series kind of has a structure when it comes to its episodes and how it forms its plot. It starts here. Let me know in the comments if you figure it out. I'll talk about it later. In Climberry Fallon, Billy makes a generator that looks like a slot machine, for no reason. But it has a special power of, by using the power coins, it can reverse the age of the Rangers, making them back into teenagers. Goldar and Rito, meanwhile, are on the hunt for those Kid Rangers, and once again, got balls thrown at them, and essentially got kicked off the bus. For real though, why do those kids have so many balls to throw at them? Goldar and Rito, once again, you guys are bad boys with swords. You could murder the children, but no, they gotta have balls thrown at them. I guess they have morals. Also, while I was watching this, I was thinking, hey, I know Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is already kind of a kid show in a way, but a kid Mighty Morphin Power Ranger show where they're like in middle school and have powers, that might be cool to see in a series. The villains ultimately do catch up to the kids, but not before Billy tells everybody to get to safety while only regenerating himself back to his age. Selfish, I guess. That was a very selfish act of Billy. However, Lord Zed and Rita would show up, steal that device, and destroy the power coins forever. Kind of quick for a sad end of the power coins. They just got, whoop, got them. I didn't really feel like, you know, a lot of hype was building up to that, you know? Especially when in the 3 Rangers of the Mighty Morphin show, they're all about, we gotta take the power coins! And now you got them, and they didn't really use it as the destruction to be more of a noteworthy thing for the show. It just kind of happens. The evil space aliens from above would ultimately turn the regenerator into a monster and send it off to fight. But the Alien Rangers are already dehydrated and are sent to a fountain. To be honest, when I thought about the Alien Rangers regenerating, I thought they would just start swimming in the water. But no, they just kind of float around it and take up the essence of the water. They should have dived though. It would have been pretty cool. They would morph up and fight the Tengas in some original footage, and that casino monster in some Japanese footage, and would take them down with the Battleborgs. Later being awarded medals, now they are known to the public as the Aquitar Rangers. Which, by the way, for some reason, the mayor of Angel Grove, even though the time was sent backwards, she hasn't de-aged a bit. I wonder what her skincare routine is. But at the end, even with Aisha saying, "It's okay, Billy," Billy would state that it's about to get real worse. Episode 4. In order to combat dehydration, Billy would make a molecular hydro-atmospheric generator to purify the lake and give Aquitians the best water possible for them to rehydrate. Kid Tommy and Kat are at a park with it, and we get to see an old Karen who wants to call the police on them. That's kind of weird if you think about it. This old lady just sees two kids playing by herself, and her first idea is, what are they doing with this technology? They shouldn't be touching this. I gotta call the police immediately. Like, girl, you're old. Keep walking. Meanwhile, in an actually funny scene, the other Kid Rangers are showing the Aquitians ice cream, and they are in love. However, Bulk and Skull are seen fishing, and that ruins the mood of the Alien Rangers. The Alien Rangers would become the Karens and become offended, using their telekinetic powers to basically push the bullies into the water. Not drown them, just a little splash. But this act would dehydrate the Rangers.
It must be his hydration level.
The whole Kid Ranger group would unite on the north side of the lake to rehydrate the aliens. But the villains of this episode are the Barbaric Brothers. In this one original American shot, would pollute the water and basically trap the Alien Rangers in the lake. But other than that, they just kind of watched the Rangers from their Super Sentai Japanese forest. It definitely looks weird and a little bit too obvious. But you know, maybe in the 90s when everything was in a small screen and it was all blurry, you probably wouldn't have noticed. Rito and Goldar would show up again just to do nothing, of course, but go boating and maybe find love with each other. But once the Alien Rangers are free, still dehydrated by the way, they somehow still morph up and defeat the brothers using Battleborgs and the Shogun Megazord. My only explanation for this is that their version of the power coins gives them enough power even though they're dehydrated. I guess they don't really use that power a lot because they quickly go into Megazord mode. Anyways, at the end, Zordon says the risk is too big for the Alien Rangers to be here, and they send them back to their planet. Another sad ending for this episode, but it's called Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. They're gonna come back, of course. I don't know why they just implemented that ending. Then we get episode 5, which is Attack of the 60s Bulk, which is probably my favorite episode of this season, as I think the only purpose of this episode was a reason to go to the water park. And they sure make great use of it because they did the whole shebang, alright? They had water slide montages and Bulk and Skull skipping lines. Just some funny, kid-friendly things to do.
What's the problem? Couldn't find a line?
And in this episode, Lord Sid and Rita actually choose Bulk to turn into a monster because he's the, quote, brat of the group. 365 Party Bulk is a real thing, guys. Also, Brat Boy is voiced by Paul Schreier, the guy who is Teen Bulk in the show. Fun to mention. He also directs this episode, and as well as the next one. We then cut to the Aquitar Rangers back at their planet while Zordon calls them in to defeat the monster. Which then we get 2 minutes of the Alien Rangers fighting at a water park. No swords necessary, by the way, just NBA juking the monsters around, using water buckets and slow-mo shots. They were even seen swimming underwater. Pure cinema. The Bulk monster would grow big and the Battleborgs seem to have some trouble with it. This makes the Kid Power Rangers teleport to the scene of the battle and try to scream at Bulk to get out the monster, which actually successfully works. Until Rita and Zed zap him again. And Bulk blasts the moon!
I'm pissing on the moon! How do you like that, Obama? I pissed on the moon, you idiot!
But they would turn him back to Bulk again because, you know, they live on the moon. And the Kid Rangers would tell Bulk that this was all just a dream, which seems to work about right. And at the end of the episode, we're at the command center. Zordon tells the Rangers about the Zeo Crystal and its power, with the possibility of when you bring it all together, you can actually reverse the age of the Power Rangers and the Earth as a whole. We could spin this Earth forward. And the Kid Rangers are down to do this quest to find the pieces of the Zeo Crystal, even though Billy was like, yo, let me go. I'm the teenager here. I'm old enough. But Zordon says this is something for the kids, and I guess it's time to give Billy a vacation. But not really, because he's in every single episode. I wonder what the rest of the cast were doing. Like, were they on a beach, sitting margaritas? Probably was fun. And Zordon will ultimately say, "Let the Zeo quest begin." Boom. To be continued. What a time, and what an episode. You know, there's so many quirks to it that just made it so fun to watch, especially when the Rangers would ask Zordon to, hey, teleport us, and Zordon would say every time, multiple times in this episode, my power's too low, but I'll try, and it works every time. Why do you gotta say that then? It's gonna work. Also, something that doesn't work is Goldar and Rita. Like, they're being trusted again and again and again to get the Power Rangers, to destroy them. Well, they did the coin thing. Wow, good on them. But they keep failing every time. Like, what is Squat and Babu doing at the Moon Palace? You know, why can't they do anything? Finster, I guess he just keeps making monsters, but Goldar and Rita, we're gonna trust them again? Seriously? They have a new plot line, though, here. They're under the command center, about to set off a bomb. Let's see where this goes. Foreshadowing, it's gonna blow up. Episode 6, we got the Kid Rangers jumping into portals through different eras of time to find pieces of the Zeo Crystal. And Rocky was sent off to Mexico and meet a boy named Pablo, telling him about the story of a crystal in a volcano. And Kid Rocky easily goes in and takes the crystal. Okay, wrap it up, credits. Yeah, his Zeo quest was like 3 scenes at most this episode. However, fun fact, this is the episode where we got to know Rocky's last name. Rocky de Santos. Huh? Rocky, a true Latino king. Meanwhile, below the command center, Goldar and Rita are still looking for the entrance to it to, you know, set up this bomb. Goldar has popcorn and makes a trail, and Rita eats it. End of story. How do they get popcorn anyways? Back in Angel Grove, Sestro is heavily dehydrated. Weird considering it's usually the whole team of Rangers that gets dehydrated and not just one singular one. But they do head to the aquarium and talk to the fish, of course, to find a clear source. Bulk and Skull Jr. would go into the aquarium, and they are now fans of the Alien Rangers after what happened last episode. Even getting Equestrian pins. How do they get those pictures on a pin so quickly? Somebody making money off these Equestrian Rangers already? I'm Saban, at you. Bulk and Skull also think about some what-if battles for some fun dialogue, like who is stronger, the Alien Rangers or Darth Vader, or maybe a Klingon. Sestro would go by himself to look for the source of water, but finds himself in a battle. But he's still on a hunt for pure water, while walking on water. Like, bro, take a dip. Like, I'm trying to see the Alien Rangers dive in. Or I guess the monster will just do it for him fine. The Witch Girl grows big, and the Alien Rangers try to summon the Battleborgs, but Lord Zed has put a shield on Earth, so they can't summon them. Well, I guess you call the Shogun Zords. Go, go, Power Rangers.
That was easy.
Episode 7, Adam's Zeo quest is double the size of Rocky's, and better, to say the least. He lands in Korea and asks for a wise man named Kai-Ogi. The people will tell him it's just an old story. Meanwhile, an old man follows Adam. Creep alert! Creep alert! Get this man away. The man recognized Adam's frog spirit, but I guess everyone does.
Yes, a frog. Like the one you kissed. To get a handsome prince.
And joins Adam asking people if they are Kai-Ogi. But of course, the old man is Kai-Ogi and helps him get the Zeo Crystal in his little waterfall home. On Earth though, Billy needs a modulator for his Zeo Crystal transformer and heads off to find it. Sestro and Tadius are to stay in Billy's home. However, Tadius mentions that he is dehydrated.
It must be his hydration level.
So, of course, they head off and go to the car wash. Rita and Zed would notice this and use a spider to become a monster and send Tengas to the car wash. And what follows it is not a battle, but the Tengas playfully enjoying the water. Because of course, this happens, while the Alien Rangers just take it all in. It's the aura. They're getting that aura. The water aura. Billy would then get home though and be trapped by the spider. The Alien Rangers would then team up to go save him. Battleborg, Shogun, Megazord, go, Power. You get it by now. What episode is this? 7. You see the structure? And meanwhile, Rita and Goldar would play a game of tic-tac-toe and accidentally find themselves leaving the caves of the command center. I swear, their storyline is probably the worst in the show's history. And you know, I'm starting to think that this whole video is probably a waste of time. Episode 8. Now at this point, you may notice the structure that I'm talking about. Billy's always making some sort of device. Reverse the age, rehydrate the Rangers, find the Zeo Crystal, blah, 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 blah. In this case, this episode 8, he's making another hydration machine with Sestro. Rita and Zed would look from the moon and send a monster to break the device or something. Which, by the way, there's no monster this episode, so finally we're breaking formula in the 8th episode. There's just a mention here of the Alien Rangers enemy, the Hydro Hawk.
He is called Hydro Hawk.
We get a one Ranger fight. It's just Sestro fighting with some Tengas and some cool American footage. And the rest of the Angel Grove B-plot is them worrying in the command center. What a great episode. This is just filler before the finale. With Tommy's Zeo quest, he would arrive at a Native American village and follows a hawk to a man called True of Heart, who guides Tommy through edgings of a rock wall, describing the story of a hero who will be out for the crystal in order to combat evil. Also notice how we got the Zeo red helmet on the wall as a drawing. At the peak of a mountain, Tommy would see multiple subcrystals, and only by trusting his choice and being true of heart, he would of course pick the right one. Also, the True of Heart would give Tommy half of a spearhead. telling him the other half will come to him in due time, setting up a 4-part arc in Power Rangers Zeo where Tommy finds his brother. And back under the cave, Rito and Goldar set off the bomb. That's it. That's the episode. Here we go, episodes 9 and 10. Hog Day afternoon. It's a 2-parter, so you know it's about to be good. The Rangers await in the command center for Aisha's return. She, however, would have just landed in Africa and is scared to see a lion coming her way. That's when she meets Tanya, who tells her the animals in the area are facing a plague that makes them dangerous and willing to attack. Tanya is also kind of an orphan, her parents having disappeared in an expedition, being taken in by a village that also takes Aisha as well. Meanwhile in Angel Grove, Lord Zed successfully brings Hydro Hog to Earth. He apparently was bored since the Alien Rangers left Aquitar. Like, bro, your main ops, the team of people you're fighting against, are on Earth doing something else. The whole planet is yours. Why didn't bro do anything? Plot hole. I guess he just called off work like that. He heads off to the Angel Grove Lake, and the Alien Rangers fight in some original footage battling, in which they finally use their swords. However, the Hydro Hog would start to suck the water out of the Alien Rangers, resulting in them ultimately being powerless. And soon they would steal the water of the lake, and later, the Angel Grove pool, right as the Alien Rangers were teleporting there, as Hydro Hog would go on to drain the water across the world. Gotta be honest, for a finale, he is a very huge threat. He just took the whole Earth's water like this. I don't know if any other Power Ranger villain has done as much as him. I know somebody in the comments is gonna say I'm wrong. Below the command center, Rito and Goldar would start the bomb countdown, but was told by Rita to only blow up the command center after they steal the Zeo Crystal. So they gotta wait for Aisha. And in Africa, Aisha and Tanya link up with Ashala, which turns out to be Aisha's great aunt. Ashala tells Aisha that a plague, if not cured, the village would be at risk of extinction. Aisha, having worked at an animal shelter previously, thinks that she can help. Ashala also was anticipating Aisha's arrival, and has the Zeo subcrystal and offers it to her in hopes that she would stay and help the village. Angel Grove and now the world has big clouds full of accumulated water. The Kid Rangers are using any type of water they can find to help the Alien Rangers stay alive and hydrated. Billy would make, of course, another device that shot through the viewing globe, somehow, and makes it rain just enough for the Alien Rangers to fight the Hydro Hog. Hydro Hog grows big, and knowing their Battleborgs can't hurt him, and the Japanese footage doesn't use it, they use the Shogun Megazord, but even the finisher can't destroy him. Also, a funny thing I like about Power Rangers is that they would have the theme song playing, or their finale, final smash music, and I love the music cue that they do. When they do a little fake out and it cuts off, it's like, up, that's so easy. They do it here, and I just think it's cute. It's funny.
You don't get the win like that this time!
And of course, the battle would go on. Billy would remember though that he can remotely summon the Falcon Zord and brings it over to form the Shogun Megan Falcon Zord. This whole scene is very interesting, I noticed, because in the Japanese footage, it's the Zord's first appearance in the show, which makes the moment, of course, a lot more epic and is pretty great for a finale in this case. Also, gotta note something about the Megazord battles in this series, because every time the Alien Rangers use the Shogun Megazord, there's no dialogue from any of the Alien Rangers. They do it, you know, when they're doing the Battleborg stuff, because they're but when they're in the Shogun Megazord, it's nothing. They don't use the footage from the cockpits that they did for Mighty Morphin Season 3, or I don't think they even used footage from Cocker Ranger. They just did nothing. It was pretty weak. I just hate a silent Megazord fight. Okay, back to Africa though, as Aisha makes the decision to give Tanya the Zeo subcrystal and would send her back to Angel Grove. Zordon would appear in the sky and tell her that this will affect the timelines of Tanya and Aisha. Tanya goes to Angel Grove and with that puts the Zeo crystal back together, for which the Earth moves forward in time, making the Power Rangers back to their normal age, as well as growing Tanya into a teenager. How? I can't tell you. Did she just lose 10 years of her life? Zordon says that the lives of Aisha and Tanya will be rewritten history to make this possible, but no further explanation after that, as we only saw a glimpse of Aisha's new Africa life. And now I realize why Zordon was Gosei's mentor.
There's a simple explanation for that.
Tanya stays in the command center for Alpha to fill her in on all the Ranger knowledge she needs to know, while the Mighty Morphin Rangers say their goodbyes to the Alien Rangers. This, of course, was the time that Rito and Goldar steal the Zeo Crystal, and that's when the detonator starts to go off. Explosions start to happen in the command center, Zordon and Alpha would teleport the Rangers out of their base, and from the outside, the Rangers would witness the destruction. This scene, to me and probably many others, is one of the darkest in Power Rangers history. Seeing their home of hope that they have grown in for 3 years just destroyed into ashes, this definitely was powerful. As not knowing what happened to the Zeo Crystal or their friends Zordon and Alpha, the Power Rangers are just clueless. And Tommy would ultimately say that this could possibly be the end of the Power Rangers. Boom! To be continued. Alien Rangers is done. This was an interesting Power Rangers season to watch because this is probably the only Power Rangers show where the Power Rangers are not the protagonists. The Alien Rangers are not the stars of Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. This is the Mighty Morphin team story, but now with no powers, and they are kids on a quest to turn forward time and get back to normal. In this Zeo quest, the Kid Rangers get a lot more development as we see their ancestry, and Billy, who got back to teenage age quickly, also gave him his own development as he can't morph anymore and would have to use his intelligence to really help out the team, ushering in this tech guy role that we ultimately see in Power Rangers Zeo. The Power Rangers in this season, the Equestrians, are just temporary guardians for the Passover to occur. The Alien Rangers were essentially the placeholder team. That's why they would go to Aquitar so much, or they're dehydrated, they gotta go drink some water or something.
It must be his hydration level.
And their appearance each episode would remind viewers they're not here to last forever. The Alien Rangers are arguably the least developed team and least relevant. Throughout the years, we've known this. It's surprising that we haven't got much of them over the years. Zeo made the most use out of them, being about 4 episodes, including the tech wizard Sestro and leader Delphine, while the rest of the team shows up for a 2-parter team-up episode, the first of its kind. The Red Ranger Orico would appear in the Forever Red crossover in Suit, however, there still wasn't much character development for him at all. Thaddeus and Corcus got no spotlight in the series. At least Thaddeus talked and whined and looked strong. Corcus was just quiet and didn't really contribute much. Apparently he was supposed to look curious, but I think the audience just got more curious with questions about his existence. However, their ultimate appearance in the show may have been a thing from the writers to introduce that Power Rangers exist not just on Earth, but in other parts of the universe, expanding the multiverse or whatever. I guess this was the 90s. Multiverse didn't exist, or wasn't a thing, a trend. And since they're framed as a distant intergalactic force from another planet, they had allowed them to reappear in those few episodes of the future, of course, without raising many questions about why they aren't always around to help. If they have just been another Earth-based team, why aren't they stepping in other cities when they got problems? By situating the Alien Rangers off-world, the show would cleverly sidestep that issue, so that the Alien Rangers would never be seen, for the most part. And the Power Rangers, of course, are known for fighting aliens, so it's so cool to see that, hey, aliens could be Power Rangers too. I just think it's very weird that even today, how successful the Power Rangers have become, especially within the Power Rangers comics, for expanding the universe of the show beyond television, there aren't any stories about the Equestrian Rangers. The planet is referenced here and there, but ultimately, these Alien Rangers are still alien to us viewers even 30 years later. Overall, this season is generally a miss if you were expecting Alien Rangers to be the star, and if you hate kid actors. This probably wouldn't work for you either. It is interesting to see how those Kid Rangers are used, especially comedically, in some different environments. And the aliens maybe had 1 or 2 moments of them adapting to Earth, but there are really glimpses and not really constant in the show. Bulk and Skull's antics were more consistent than this. Sending the Alien Rangers back and forth from Aquitar, and the structure of the show got old very, very quickly. My personal favorite episodes, of course, being the 60s Bulk episode and the finale. And in the end, I would have to give Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers 2.5 stars out of 5. Cosmic Fury better, it makes a better use out of Billy, too. I will say he was looking damn good in 1996 though. What do you think of Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. This was a weird one to watch, but I'm glad I finally watched it. I really want to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Don Fuego. I'm also on Instagram, Don Fuego. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. And of course, and as always, stay awesome, everybody.